I haven't been creating many videos lately because there's not much to show, and I don't like getting in front of the camera just talking about random stuff because people are like, what is that? I don't care about that, right? So it's good to have something to show, like the cats and things that aren't the regular thing that you would normally see or whatever come across. So I have plans to create more videos, but I need the tools in the right direction before I get into that. So you know how the cats, they have fur, right? They have the hairs all over their body, and it kind of helps insulate the inside layers of the organism from the outer energy that's flowing through space in random directions. And all those little hairs are positioned right next to each other, forming this dense wall that's kind of soft, so that it kind of bends to the forces and kind of softens the pressure of it against their skin, okay? And that helps that helps keep the temperature within a constant level, so that it doesn't fluctuate as much, okay? And like everything that has a design to it in life goes through this challenge of insulating itself. And so like everything creates layers and layers and layers, this sense of stability to the system, okay? Keeps it rigid, keeps the pattern maintained and cycled, okay? And inside there's always like a cycle, there's always a cycle of energy, you know, recycling it, keeping it maintained, okay? It doesn't just go off in random directions, and that's what these layers help. It kind of helps redirect the energy around itself so that it can keep going like a wheel. It just keeps going and going and going, okay? Everything does this, right? You just have to notice it, you have to wake up to it. I don't know how you wake up to it. It's just all these clues, these hints, impressions hitting you after one and again, after hitting you again and again and again, right? This pulsating feeling of life, death, the absence and the sense, okay, of presence, okay? It's all there, and you could take any subject and find this pattern at any level, and that's why I'm doing it, because it's like everything basically. But it's at the same time it's nothing, because you have no control over it. It's like you can't really do anything about it. You can only just pass on the message, basically pass on the signal, right? The way of looking, a way of redirecting the energy. So in a way I'm trying to control your eyes or the way that you think, but everything is doing that anyways. I'm not doing it. Well, I am doing it, but I'm not alone in trying to do it. Everything else is doing it along with me, right? Okay, so you could either be with me or you can be with someone else, but it's happening no matter where you go, right? And that's kind of weird to think about, and maybe you don't understand what I'm saying right now, but maybe you do, okay? And maybe you will in the future, and you probably will, because everyone's developing their minds into a more structured way of thinking, right, over time. Like in the beginning, when you're younger, you're more susceptible to the energy and the randomness, right? You haven't formulated the layering, you haven't formulated the layers inside your mind yet. It hasn't crystallized the relativity between different subjects and ideas and concepts. You haven't found a balance to all of it, okay? Some people have. That's still what I'm wondering about, is how many people have really done that, because everything that people do is very subconscious, and it may sound like they know stuff about the universe, but that's because they're just mimicking the patterns, and the patterns are there so that it always has a chance to remind you at any time. At any moment you could wake up to more understanding and develop your understanding more. So it's like it's really weird the more that you think about it. And because it's so weird, it's very easy to doubt it, to doubt yourself, and that's also a pattern that is present everywhere, is people doubting each other, and through their own doubts it causes other people to doubt it, or to not to question it, or not give it the credit that it has or deserves, that sort of thing. So I don't know, I'm just rambling about stuff that matters or doesn't matter and has no effect on anything, but maybe the more I do it, maybe it'll generate a bigger pattern or a bigger impression upon things, and maybe someday it might have more relevance. Okay, so this is all like a practice sort of thing that I'm doing, an exercise where I'm developing myself, right? And I don't like explaining myself and this sort of thing, because I know people don't tune into that sort of thing, because everyone's interested in their own situation, and if someone's so self-absorbed it doesn't create a connection, right? It creates a disconnect, because there's no chance to translate it or to keep it going back and forth, right? So I need a way to kind of do that with viewers and that sort of thing, or just anything in general, so that I have so that I'm not so self-focused, right? And I'll continue to trying to develop that, but that's why I'm showing you the cats and things like that, because who doesn't like cats? I don't know. It's something different, I guess. Something that you don't normally see. Something that's not always around. I think when you develop a pattern of behavior, there's this layering effect, right? And when you're young, it's the patterns that you create are more embedded inside you, okay? So you develop certain behaviors that last longer throughout your life, that originate when you were younger, okay? So you have these cats that grew up here in this yard and were close to humans, and so they developed this behavior due to the pattern of being closer, where that's familiar to them, and they're not afraid of that. That patterns have been cycled over and over again. But other cats that aren't familiar with that pattern isn't embedded in their system as deeply, so that for them it's more confusing or more unpredictable, right? It's something that they can't deal with. So for humans, it's the same thing, right? When you're younger, you develop these patterns that kind of stick with you, and they're kind of embedded. And if you want to change them, it's difficult to do that, because you have all these other layers on top of it, kind of keeping it maintained, and for whatever reason, I guess, so that the system maintains its sense of self, what it thinks it is, right? In order to continue living and surviving, right? If you always acted different each day, that would create more unpredictable instances that might hurt you. And so that's why you try and create predictable results or predictable situations, so that you don't fall into situations that can hurt yourself, basically. So I'm just rambling.